Welcome back to Ill Eagle Culture Brands Talk. I am your host, John Ostos, a.k.a. Ill Eagle CEO, and I am with my two counterparts, Dion, Two Cup Larry, and Cody Big Meat Mouth. What's going on? Hey, I saw that guy at the gym, by the way, before we get started, that's bigger than Cody now.
Yeah. He's getting
and
there.
I asked him, I said, bro, you don't have a nickname yet? And he said, yeah, they call me Big Matter.
What?
Oh,
yeah. Big
he
Matter,
did not
bro.
actually say
He
that.
one-upped you.
Wait, the one that he said?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said that
Yeah,
actually?
he's Big Matter now, bro.
Big Matter?
Yeah, as in matter.
Like as in
Mass.
like existence?
Okay.
He got you, bro.
All right.
That's all you got?
He didn't really say that.
No.
All right, anyway.
He knows now because I did tell him. I said, I was trying to think of what your name was. I forgot.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I appreciate it, man. Because I was like, you're bigger than Cody is by far.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
By
like
a
it's
long
not even
shot.
a competition anymore. Like, and he's growing still. So
Yeah.
it's like,
You're just like, you're so massive.
yeah.
God. Juicy.
Yeah. I said, you're juicy.
With 3 O's,
Yeah.
not 2.
Do you watch him poo too? Or what?
All right.
I hope he watches these, man.
I
That'd
hope
be
so,
fucking great.
too.
He'd be dying to himself. So, last week's, or not last week's, today's episode we just dropped, but we recorded it last week. We talked about aliens and UFOs and all that good stuff, and it was fun to talk about. We just did a little research, looked it up. Yeah, it's the heat press. We're probably
Oh,
gonna hear
yeah.
that.
I thought it was a camera.
It doesn't really sound in here that I know of. So.
Okay. But yeah, there was a lot of, that was a interesting one with all of the different theories and evidence that people say that they had or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was really fun to talk about.
Yeah. Once that document, I'm sorry.
Dion burp up Larry.
I had to. They were making that film, so that'll be interesting to see when it comes out here. I think that's
June.
in like 2. Oh, it's June.
Which one are you talking about? The one with Stephen Greer?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. He said June.
June.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
be good.
So to come off that one, we wanted to do something completely different, and we decided to do some looking up on pyramids, and let's talk about pyramids. Well, turns out we're still talking about aliens. I don't know if you guys concluded that, but
I did not.
I did not.
I went a
Cody's-
different direction.
did you?
He's
Yeah.
been on one. He was at the
You
gym
followed the
yesterday.
archaeologists and not the fact checkers, huh?
Oh, well, I went, yeah, I mean, I listened to about 2 or 3 different people, and it was Graham Hancock, Randall Carson.
Which is weird that you didn't go extraterrestrial with Graham, because that guy's his theories are really plausible, but super like legit.
Yeah.
Magical powers and shit, bro.
I think he's got a lot of interesting points. He's got a lot.
Well, it's all about quantum physics and stuff. So
Yeah.
he's really into the fact that they used energy and if you didn't catch another big one and this is a topic that comes up in everyday stuff today, is psychedelics.
Yes,
They were
Yeah,
really
those
big into psychedelics
DMT.
back then. Ayahuasca is the big one, yeah. And that they grew up on that stuff, and that they were so in tune. So we always talk about the past, like if they were just like nothing near us in terms of like advancement and smarts and technology and stuff. But the truth is, what they're saying is, if you actually look back that far, they were an advanced civilization then, and then the earth was destroyed, and then we came and we're a less advanced civilization than they are, but we're now becoming and catching up, and now we're learning that they had potentially all these capabilities or abilities to do things with a natural existence that we just haven't seemed to have been able to tap into.
So the reason why I want to do the pyramids, obviously, is because there is a theory out there that says the aliens built them, whatever.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the pyramids, we talk about the Great Pyramid of Giza, and then there's 3 smaller pyramids, right? And then the Sphinx obviously is off in the distance. But they claim that the pyramid was built around 3,500 or 4,000 years ago, right? So what Graham Hancock and these other guys that I've been listening to, which there is a lot of evidence out there now, but what they claim is that 12,000 or so years ago, there was an advanced human civilization that was alive at the time. They were not just hunter and gatherers. They weren't out there collecting plants and spearing animals. No, these guys actually had tools, and they were really, really intelligent population. So a lot like if you guys think about the pyramid itself, there's 2 million plus stones that built the Great Pyramid. 2 million of those each stone weighs about like 5 or 6 tons, and they're stacked perfectly. So if you think about a triangle,
mathematically perfect too, not just you know what I mean, like
it's completely,
you're talking like unbelievable.
The dimensions of it is
precise.
It's so precise. Like if you guys think of a pyramid and you're stacking these 5-ton stones on top of each other, it has to be absolutely perfect. Yeah. And these stones are so tight and cut. Mm-hmm. They are cut perfectly that you can't even fit a razor blade in between them. So just think about that. You have a big, huge rock that you're cutting these rectangular stones from. Obviously, whatever you have has to be really precise in order for you to stack these stones on top of each other. Not only that, but their quarry where they was getting these stones were miles away.
Yeah.
Do you know how fucking much 5
So
tons
they had to travel
weighs?
them to the location, then figure out how to get them up into the pyramids. And there's tons of different theories on that.
Yeah.
All of which, no matter how you roll the dice, all of which say advanced civilization.
Yep.
Because we wouldn't be able to pull this shit off with our hands and pouring water in front of a stone and having hundreds of thousands of people just haul, tons of weight of stone all over.
You can't tell me that. Oh yeah, they had freaking thousands of slaves working for bullshit. Okay, they might have had slaves, but there's no fucking way that they were able to build this thing using just slaves.
My thing is like, even if you were able to pull an object that's that big and that heavy, I don't think you could have the manpower to be able to pull that object still. Because how many people can you truly fit on this on the face of that object to be able to be efficient?
So what we're talking about here, 12,000 or so years ago, there's different theories about this too. But one of Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson's theory was that there was a massive comet that was broken into shards, and some of those shards had flown into Earth and struck Earth, right? And when I say massive comet, I'm talking about like this thing was like, I don't know, like 200 miles long or something. It was freaking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like it was huge. So what they were saying is that there's evidence that something had made that the ocean or all of the ice, because this is during the Ice Age, melt almost instantly. Not like that, but over like a week or so, all the ice had melted and basically wiped out most of the population that was living at that time. And so there's different
don't evidence. Skip though, they say that because there was such an advanced civilization, they don't believe it was just only hunter-gatherers, but they do believe it was the hunter-gatherers who were the ones that survived and carried on tradition. And why we have history right now is because it'll always be the hunter-gatherers that survive and prolong history and pass down the knowledge from one to the next. So even though there was advanced civilization, it was the dumb guys that kept civilization moving forward too. So, or maybe backwards, and they had to start from scratch and become advanced again, which is where we start coming into play. So
it's there's a lot of evidence about what Graham was talking about, and one of them was you see these huge, massive boulders that are just like scattered out throughout North America. And so what he was talking about was that these huge freaking icebergs were carrying these boulders, and then when it melted, it just kind of placed it where it was. And there's also like different parts of North America where there's just like wavy hills like that, where that's where the ocean was, or not the ocean, wherever the water was melted was kind of making these waves, and then kind of set it in the ground like that. But I thought one of the interesting thing was he was talking about Africa was basically the only spot where it was safe, which makes sense because that's where a lot of the hunter-gatherer tribes, are today. And so he was saying that continent was safe from this, this huge, melting of whatever. But which kind of makes sense because if you look at all of the large population of animals only is in Africa. So back when we had the Ice Age, North America actually had a huge population of large mammals, like the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger and all that stuff. We had all that. But now you only find that Africa has the big, large population of animals. So that's why they're saying like Africa was the only safe haven when this huge thing had happened. Yeah. But there's other different forms of evidence too, like the Sphinx, for example. They said that the Sphinx is a lot older than what they had predicted. Yeah. Because they actually found just recently there was water erosion on the Sphinx. So when you're talking about Egypt is a part of the Sahara Desert. Well, back then, like 12,000 years ago, there was no desert. It was all rainforest and tropical. And so now they're finding like the Sphinx actually had water erosion on the Sphinx. Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting. So
didn't they also say that the head is a lot smaller than the body? And
that's one of, we can get into that in a second, but one of the things I wanted to bring up was so God damn it, I forgot it. I lost it. Thanks for that.
No problem.
I'll
How
get
dare
it back.
you conversate on
Sorry,
a podcast.
my bad.
I was gonna get to that, but
The Cody History Channel.
I know I lost it too. I can't remember what I was going to talk about.
It seems like we all. I mean, I'm pretty sure I watched the same exact video as Cody, or listened to.
Dr. Shock, Dr. Shock was. He was talking about the Sphinx, and it was really interesting. But he claims that underneath the left paw of the Sphinx is actually another chamber that could possibly hold all of their history. What do you call it? Like when people take history for a civilization, there's a chamber down there that they think that might have document or hieroglyphics or whatever. Yeah. Down in this chamber, but I guess Egypt is full of a lot of politics. Yeah, and there's a lot of politics involved in these pyramids and the Sphinx and.
The Pyramid of Giza especially has a lot of crazy stuff.
I think it's like it has a lot to do with arrogance. Yeah, like these archaeologists, Egyptologists, they can't be wrong, because what happens if they have this theory for how many years, and then some dude comes around and says no, that's not right, and then they're proven wrong.
Or even if you just say there's actually another potential theory. They're like, yeah, no, we don't buy that stuff because they even Hancock says this too. They're very cliquey. They don't really care for a lot of their theories in terms of the universal thought process about what could have taken place and how energy and powers and things of that nature. What's done is done, and that's how they want it to stay. Archaeologists aren't open-minded to it, even if you can present better facts or evidence to the facts of what you're trying to say. All of these theories seem to work on how they built the pyramid. There's a lot of really mysterious things around all the pyramids. Even so, like this is something I didn't know because I've never really looked into it. But like the pyramids in Mexico, they're not even like straight up pyramids. They have staircases and walkways that lead up in them and stuff. So, and they have divots in them and they change. And so they're a different type of pyramid, but still of wonder, right? Like it's still like, how did these come to be? No one really knows the history on it. There's a lot of speculation. I'm big into the energy stuff that they talk about because the way pyramids are built, pretty much all of the ones of importance, the ones that were complete, all are within some kind of weird proximity to another pyramid or some kind of other forms that were created then, and they have energy sources. They're in certain proximity to the sun and light and things of that nature. And there's like the Pyramid of Giza has actual energy source inside of it, down in one of the tunnels that you're not allowed to go in or explore because they're afraid to like take out a wall and that it might affect something about the dynamics of the pyramid and what goes on there. But there's definitely recorded energy sources that are greater in those areas, and they believe that the proximity of the way that they're set up, they used to make energy out of them. They used to call down energy from the sky, and that's how they were able to do things. There's theories on monks, how they use their voice to create energy, the hums. You get a certain frequency and you can do things through telekinesis by frequencies, right? Because energy is a frequency. So this theory is cool to me because there's a lot of scientific basis behind it. It's not just theory. It's not, just us like, well, it's possible we could have, maybe done this, but how? Where everything else that they say about, yeah, you could say there was millions of slaves and they hauled it, but how? And the degree at which the pyramids are built, they said that, it would be impossible to pull that much weight at some of those angles as you got higher. And in order for it to make it a small incline of degree, these ramps that they potentially could have used would have to be almost twice the size of the pyramids themselves and far, far away in order to reach that height and keep a certain degree angle for them to be able to pull this weight, no matter how many people you had.
My question to the ramp was like, how does the ramp keep getting higher? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, they showed a lot of theories on how they built it. They even showed how they built like water canals where they would float,
saw the water canals,
the stones up in certain
5 tons.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like it's all like, yeah, okay, I could see how that would work. Even as much as there's actual like hieroglyphics of like an Egyptian standing on the sled that the stones are being pulled on by a whole bunch of people, and he's pouring water in front of it as if though to make it
the sand wet.
Yeah, the sand wet so it could glide. But again, the degrees that you're talking about that you would have to go at that angle to get them up, the math doesn't work. The science, gravity comes into play. There's all these things. Unless, of course, now, if you use science and you say, well, if you have the ability to create energy out of nothingness, then you're tapped into something. You're more advanced, right? Yeah. They were really big into psychedelics back then. So they, even the young Egyptians, when they were, newborns, they would have like a tablespoon of ayahuasca or something so they could have experiences into, outer dimensions or parallel universes where you would have these experiences, these trips, so to speak, and you would be able to identify things that we can't today, that we're shut out to. There's different realms or beings around you and stuff like that. So there was different levels of mentality back then, and so they had the power of telekinesis. They had the power of energy and frequencies and stuff like that. And with that stuff, you can make things levitate. You can make things move. The mathematical exactness of the way the pyramids were built, you can't tell me that you just had a whole bunch of slaves hauling shit and throwing it down to perfection. Even if that was the case, how did they make so much perfection and do it in 20 years is a long time as it is, but to do it in the preciseness that they did it with the exact degree from one place to the next, all the way around it. I mean, you're talking perfection, perfection.
Yep.
But you had thousands of people capable of this perfection.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem humanly possible. And they say it's not by the science around, the weight and the degree of angle and everything that they have to pull the stuff. So I'm really liking all of this energy stuff and the, the theories around the ability to control frequency and make things move, at their will.
It's really interesting because I think it's called Göbekli Tepe or something like that. Göbekli Tepe. It's another artifact or a site where there was another structure that's in Turkey where they have verified it's at least 10,000 years old, and similar to other carvings and stuff. There is like 3D sculptures that are on these pillars of where this structure is, and they are so perfect the way that they're carved out of granite or limestone, whatever rock they were using, and it's perfect. So you can't tell me that they weren't tapped into something back then, something that they were able to. I mean, there's freaking pictures of drill holes that they had. You know, you can look in there and there's freaking drill holes, and you can see it. So they had some sort of tools.
Yeah.
12,000 years ago that they were able to make these massive structures, but build them in such a way that they were just perfect.
Yeah. I believe no matter what, we're dealing with advanced civilization, whether it be other humans or whether, one of the other theories is that aliens actually built these things.
Yeah.
And they were rewards to civilization that they befriended or, were cool with in some way, shape, or form. So like there's all kinds of different stuff. The big thing that I like is all the mysteriousness around all the different pyramids, what they all were. Yeah. So I made a list though of 10 mysteries surrounding pyramids that I'll read out to you guys. We'll go and then we can just talk about some of them as we go down them because some of them are pretty crazy.
Do either of you guys remember the psychedelic that they talked about? It was like on the Joe Rogan one.
DMT.
No.
Ayahuasca.
What kind of... No, it was like Blue Lily something or other. Is the one that they had found in the wine jars from the past.
That's another good point.
Blue Lily something or other.
That's a good point. So their jars that they find, they have this huge bottom of the jar is like this huge wide base and then this skinny neck.
Yeah.
And the way that they're made is almost impossible to make with any of our tools that we have today. Yeah. Obviously we could, but the way that they have made these freaking jars is amazing. And they were trying to explain how they thought that they made them. But, I don't know.
The other thing around that...
freaking crazy.
The other thing around that, too, that they talked about where they say, like, it had to have been an advanced civilization maybe outside of the Egyptians because they say if you look at all the other things that the Egyptians were known for building and creating, they weren't great architects at all.
Yeah.
But yet they can make something as perfect as the pyramids and all these other things that they've discovered, so that, it leaves a hole in the theory of, man-made. Yeah.
I just want to bring a couple more topics here. The 3 smaller pyramids, perfectly aligned with Orion's belt, right?
Yes.
And so we know for a fact that they had some sort of knowledge of our constellation, which they some people claim that they didn't know what our constellations were, but there is certain hieroglyphs that have pictures of Taurus and Orion and Leo. So this kind of goes into what Tian was talking about earlier about the Sphinx. If you look at the Sphinx, the head is so much smaller than the rest of the body. So what the theory is out there is that the original head was supposed to be Leo. Because if you look at the Sphinx, it's actually facing towards the constellation Leo. Mm-hmm. So what they're saying was the head was a head of a lion originally. And then as the years went on, they carved it into, I forget the pharaoh's name, Asphalion or something like that. But they carved it into his head. And it's kind of interesting because if you look at the side profile of the Sphinx, his head is tiny compared to his body.
Yeah. It's so like it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense, but it's just crazy because they had 100% knowledge of our constellation.
Yeah.
12 or however thousands of years ago, they had knowledge of our constellation. So it's wild.
So I'm sure there's a whole bunch more theories here, but these are some of like the 10 that I just gathered that I thought were really enticing. I found notes and heard them talk about in different videos and stuff that I watched. So I figured if we could break them down into just some theories that are actual topics, then we can maybe go more into discussion. So the first one that I have is the pyramid power theory. So this theory suggests that the pyramids were built to harness and amplify energy, and that they possess mysterious powers that can be used for healing, meditation, and other spiritual practices. So that's one of the theories that they have on pyramids is that they were made for harnessing energy, basically being a power tool to heal and do all kinds of other things. Again, still like how do we understand that and how do we create that if we're just humans? So we're talking at another advanced civilization. Another theory is the theory of aliens. Some people say that the pyramids were built with the help of extraterrestrial beings who provided the ancient Egyptians with advanced technology and information.
Which But we have seen hieroglyphs. Like
Yes,
there are
of aliens.
There are hieroglyphs of aliens. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right. There's a connection there that you can't deny.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna go based on the stuff they left behind us for us to find, well, there's aliens in those pieces of evidence for sure. The mathematical and astronomical theory, the pyramids' precise alignment with the stars and their geometric accuracy suggests that they were built with a sophisticated understanding of mathematics and astronomy. Which we just talked about. They clearly had some knowledge of that. Geological theories. There's theories that suggest the pyramids were built on top of natural energy fields or geological hotspots, which may have contributed to their mystical qualities, their abilities to do certain things, and like we talk about, potentially telekinesis and different things of that nature, based on the proximity of where they were on the planet. Which, again, they talk a lot about Egypt, and I also saw another one that I was watching just today, Bosnia, about the Green Pyramids. They think they've discovered pyramids there, which archaeologists are like, no, that's bullcrap. They're not pyramids. They're natural structures. The Earth's what do they call it? The movement.
Tectonic plates.
The tectonic plates have caused all kinds of amazing structures over time and whatnot. And so they're trying to claim that that's what that is, but they're green. They look like mountains, but they have 4 and 6 sides to them with exact 90-degree angles. And the stone that they're created with, if you get under the dirt, is man-made stone. It's not natural, they say. These ones in Bosnia aren't really pyramids, but again, so there's out of the 5 that are there's 3 of them that are within 2.32 kilometers of each other to an exactness in the shape of a triangle. And one of them has an energy source at the top of it that you can actually see,
which would make sense if you're talking about the melting of the ice, melting of the ice. What happens when you melt ice? So you get all that water and all of that dirt and sand and stuff that move. So if there was a structure there and you melt and you bring up all that dirt, it's going to get covered by, something, right?
Yeah.
Which then that takes us into the spiritual gateway theory. So some people believe that the pyramids were built as a gateway to the afterlife and that they contain secret chambers and tunnels that lead to other dimensions. Again, they talk about that in the Pyramid of Giza and some of the other ones there in Egypt as well. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
I would be buried in a tomb or a temple.
This is the other thing. I swear I didn't follow up on it, but I swear that after I watched all this stuff and then I saw this one particular documentary, they said, though they claim that these were made for the Egyptians, they've never found an actual mummy inside of a pyramid.
Yeah, they found sarcophaguses, but they've never found mummies, which is interesting.
Yeah. So then number 6 is the water pump theory. This is one that we were briefly talking about. So some suggest that the pyramids were built as giant water pumps. They use natural flow of underground water to lift the heavy blocks and create a system of water storage and distribution. So that's they built these canals, whitewater rapids type things, canals and stuff where they can float them up. That's that one had very little evidence to back it. It was just like a complete potential theory. No one ever dug into it, so I didn't see a lot into that. The lost technology theory. Some of these theories are that ancient Egyptians possessed a lost technology or knowledge that enabled them to build the pyramids with greater ease and precision that we just can't seem to replicate. So we just don't know that it's a lost technology. We literally don't know, and we never will know because it's so advanced and out of the realms of understanding.
Well, if you think about it, 12,000 years ago, let's say 12,000 years ago, how if there was an advanced civilization, it's kind of interesting to think how much further back were they advanced and how much they came along until they were wiped out. So, and then we basically had to start over. And now I don't know.
Yeah, that's Hancock's theories that we at some point we were completely wiped out. With the exception of a few hunter-gatherers who didn't know shit about shit. And so we've started from ground zero again and are working way back up to advancements.
The funny thing is that what he said was that if this happens again, the hunter and gatherers are going to be the only ones left.
Well, we'll be the only ones.
He's like, I'm fucked.
We'll be the only ones that know how to survive, bro. Me and my team.
It's just like funny. The dude was like, I'm fucked, but he's like, I couldn't live alone, and I couldn't live. And that actually got me thinking. We don't have to go on a tangent, but I was like, fuck, I see these like emergency supply food rations. Like, I want to be a fucking bad.
You're gonna have to survive the meteor first, bud.
Dude, survive this, bitch.
I don't think it's a meteor that we're waiting
for. Aliens.
Yeah, I think it's our own people we gotta fear, man.
Yeah.
All right, so the last three, the healing energy theory. Many people believe pyramids emit a powerful healing energy, which can be used to cure various physical and mental ailments. You have the solar power theory. This one suggests that pyramids were designed to harness the power of the sun, using mirrors and other tools to focus its rays and create a source of renewable energy. That one has a lot of factual evidence behind it as well. And then the Atlantean theory. This one is people believing that the pyramids were built by an advanced civilization that predated the ancient Egyptians, such as the mythical civilization of Atlantis. Mm-hmm. And then that one has a lot of theories to support, or a lot of evidence to support that theory as well. So
mostly because we see a lot of that throughout all of our mythology.
Well, didn't someone just discover Atlantis too?
Yeah, recently? I was actually just watching a pod about that. It was back in 2021. I can't remember where he said that this was happening, but there was a site where they believe that there was a city there. It was about 30 miles or so in diameter, and they said it was whatever this advanced civilization would be like New York, but for advanced people.
See, and that's the thing with like the theory of having like an advanced civilization ahead of time. Why aren't we finding things that are like super sick? You don't think there's gonna be like a Honda around when we're gone?
So they were explaining that, but
Honda, like, whoa,
bro, that Accord is gonna be there. They're always there.
They're gonna be like those poor people.
Are you saying why is there no evidence of an advanced civilization?
That's what, yeah,
but
exactly.
Evidence, I think,
okay,
though.
but Dion, if you're talking about how much fucking ice that there was during the Ice Age, and all of that ice melts, it's gonna wash all that shit away.
But we have these stone pyramids,
bro. We have pyramids in Antarctica.
Yep,
they're sticking out of the water right now through ice.
I mean, they're finding more and more shit all over the world.
Do you see Joe Rogan just announced today that they found another ocean under our ocean that's even bigger?
What?
Yeah, bro, like crazy stuff that's going on.
There's an ocean it's underneath the Earth's crust that is way bigger than our ocean.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's where the aliens live.
Yeah.
Who was it that said that? Didn't Greer say that? There's never been
Tucker
evidence
Carlson
of aliens
coming
from up
space.
above, but we've seen tons of actual footage and evidence of them coming out and going into the ocean.
And they're being tracked by submarines.
Yeah.
And they're being tracked at over 100 knots.
Underwater.
So yeah, I remember.
That's over 100 miles per hour underwater.
No way.
Fuck, dude.
I can't believe Cody doesn't know anything about this stuff. Like he should have no.
Maybe I do, and I can't.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like,
he's playing dumb right now.
He's seen the radars. Like
they're like, pretend you want to know, but act like you don't.
You should go on the podcast with them. It'll make them seem crazy.
Steer them wrong.
These crafts can fly at like 2,000 miles per hour and stop it on dime. You don't think they have the technology to outrun or technology our radars?
I mean, other people have seen them though.
You can literally shut down nuclear sites.
You were just in Washington, and you didn't see anything.
Oh, that's nuts.
I can't tell you that.
See, anyway,
but yeah, what were we talking about?
But you find stone spears and stuff like that. You don't find like a ray gun or something. You know what I mean?
That's why I like the theory that it might not be them.
Yeah.
That this stuff was inherited by them or something like that, but that there was a more advanced civilization. Because like they said, like if you look at everything else that the Egyptians built and created, it was not of great anything. But yet these pyramids are probably the greatest mystery ever and have the most mathematical precision of construction or architecture that we've ever seen. And that's just us looking at the damn outsides of them.
That's kind of what they were talking about, because they're saying that the pyramids were built 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, but there's really no evidence, not a lot, of when they were built. So their claim is that the outside was probably built 3,000 to 4,000, but on the inside was more like 10,000 years ago. So I don't know. It's freaking wild.
Yeah, that's I just don't know. I don't know what to think, honestly, on that one. So now the second half of our podcast, we're going to be in Egypt, guys. So we're going to take a trip out there.
Yeah. We're going to make a quick stop in Dubai, though.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, that fucking shit.
That would be a sight to see out of a lot of things in this world.
To go see the
I would
pyramids.
like to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But that other site, there's that Galebi, I can't pronounce it, but whatever Tepe is in Turkey. Yeah. So they're finding that there, and then there's another one in Japan. Dude was talking about that during the invasion of Iraq, around Syria, around that area, they found another site underneath the ground with these like two ancient bulls or whatever, and ISIS destroyed them. So
yeah, which was another weird thing. They said, why are, like, I don't remember who was talking about it. Maybe it was Graham too, but they were talking about like why are we trying to erase history, and what are we trying to hide by it? And then they talked about ISIS destroying all kinds of things, artifacts and pyramids and stuff. And they're saying, they must either one know something we don't know, and they're trying to hide it because they don't want us to understand, or even two, there's the theory that there might be some kind of generational memory inherited from, they can feel and sense it, and so there's this certain grudge they have with certain things based on the energy they get from it. It doesn't mean they're right in what they're doing. It just means they might have had a horrible experience in their past with that down their ancestral line or whatever, and so now they're still feeling that. So there's all these weird things about it. I just love all of this because there's no real truth. You can't even archeologists can't sit here and be like, no, what we say is truth.
Oh yeah, they
do. But they can't.
Yeah, nobody fucking knows.
Nobody knows
how they built. Nobody fucking knows.
And there's so many theories that work. It's insane.
Yeah.
See, I wonder if it was all just underwater, and then they were able to set the stones. You know what I mean? Underwater, but it wouldn't be humans.
But how would they do that? Yeah, that would be impossible.
Wouldn't be humans.
The height of them, the size of them. Who would be able to go underwater and
Atlanteans
and set the stones?
I don't know.
Atlanteans for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I have no clue, but that's all I could see is that it was underwater so that you could move the rocks like they said. But even ramps, like that just makes no sense to me. I'll have to look into what they were doing with the ramps, because how can your ramp start from here and get up to each level of the pyramid to get to the top
and have it perfect at the top?
Exactly.
Perfect.
Without being able to see an aerial view, like, that's pretty much impossible.
Yeah. No, I don't know. But the other thing was Dr. Robert Schoch. He didn't agree with Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock of the theory of the shards of the comet. He did say that there was some sort of world event that happened, but he believes that there could have been a comet or something that hit the sun and caused a massive solar flare. And basically what happened was this solar flare had melted all of the ice caps on Earth, and that's what happened. Which some of the evidence...
Fargo could use that right now.
The what?
Fargo could use that right now.
Some of the evidence was so if you look up solar flare images or some shit, they look like stick figures, like in the sky. That's what they look like. And there's cave drawings of these, whatever they are, stick figures of the solar flare event. So
didn't they all draw everything in stick figures back then?
I mean, these are pretty close to what they are, though.
Yeah,
they're pretty close.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah. But the scary thing is that he was talking about the sun, and we are 100% on track to have another solar flare event. And if that does happen, it will completely wipe out the entire grid across the world. That one little solar flare, it would wipe everything out. Like all of our electrical systems would be fried.
We're also on track to get hit by a meteor as well.
That's one thing he did. I think it was him. No, it was Graham. Was talking about There is a I can't remember what it's. It's like an asteroid
either.
field or something.
We travel through it every year.
Something like that.
Around October-ish is what he was saying. And
there's a whole fucking field of asteroids, and some of them are like the size of Texas. You know, they're huge. And we just happen to fucking...
Which is odd because this year I've known or I've seen an increase in like the amount of... what are they called when they're
Comets?
Yeah, that they're flying by.
Shooting stars. Or
yeah, shooting stars, comets. They like in the news they're posting and saying, "Hey, you should be able to see this today."
Yeah.
But most of the time we had like.
Do you think that we're seeing it more commonly, or do you just think that we can see more now?
Well, it's interesting that
I don't know.
You know what I mean? We didn't used to have this stuff.
Yeah.
So we couldn't see everything that happens all the time, and now you can literally see the whole world.
I don't know. It's pretty frequent
in your screen. No, I know, I get it, but it probably always was.
I mean, I've only seen 2 shooting stars maybe in my entire life. So.
Yeah, and then I find it interesting that NASA had just come out with a way to deter asteroids by crashing a satellite into them. I guess. Yeah. Which
I think that's the other thing I was going to say. Like, even if we are waiting that stuff, we're not just waiting for it to happen. I'm sure we've got technology at this point. If we're mimicking alien technology and spacecraft right now, which seems to be we are, I'm sure we've got something ready to take out an asteroid that's headed towards Earth or something. You know, I'm sure we're more than prepared for that.
Maybe that's why Trump dog got Space Force.
Maybe
Space Force.
Or maybe Space Force was created so they can do their false flag event next year.
I don't think Trump dog would do that.
Didn't they just announce something on Trump today?
Yeah.
He's indicted.
He got indicted?
Yep.
Yeah. So now what?
Nothing, probably.
Well, they'll arrest him like they claim they will.
Yeah.
And we'll go through the clown show again.
He's going to get Jeffrey Epstein?
I doubt it.
I don't think he'll go to prison. Or even jail or anything.
Yeah, this is all weird.
It's a clown show.
I'm more into this ancient shit than I am to what's going on today, man. It's too weird.
I thought like the psychedelics topic was kind of interesting, honestly. And
it's real. Yeah. That's the other thing about it.
It's crazy. They were
that stuff
totally
is so
into
real.
it.
Yeah, it's so real. And if you think about how they tried to prevent us, back in the day, 60s and 70s, from getting into psychedelics, and they created all this, media around it and stuff about how bad it was and how it makes you this and makes you that.
Go away.
but it's like huge now.
Yeah,
everyone and I don't mean everyone is a junkie. I mean everyone is
Aaron
taking
Rodgers,
psychedelics.
He does
for medicine, for healing, for anxiety, for depression. You name it. To experience and have a shift, like you name it, bro. Like everyone's talking good talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if they were tapping into.
That's what Hancock's theory was about the Egyptians.
They were able to.
They were tapping into universal powers that exist that we aren't able to tap into because we're blocked.
Yeah,
it's a lost art of human history that we have. Everyone knows we have these abilities, right? It's like how they always tell us, that we only use 10% of our brain's capacity. Mm-hmm. Do you think we only use that 10% because we've been told that's all we can use though? Imagine if we grew up being told that we have all these abilities and we have the ability, the power of telekinesis and mind reading, and we know it exists, right? We've seen all throughout history. There's people who can create electric energy with their hands. There's people who can bend spoons with their mind. And like that's real shit that actually happens in our world, and we just chalk it up to being like, oh, they're autistic or something like that. And that's what people say. It's the autism, the power of autism. People get these abilities to do these things, but it's not only them that can do this stuff, man.
Yeah.
We all have that ability. We just don't know how to tap into that anymore.
How did you guys feel about them saying like, well, maybe psychedelics is the way that people are seeing aliens? So they said,
I mean, that's a theory.
Yeah. You heard it, obviously.
Yep.
That's outrageous, but it's true. Because
okay, so next episode we all do shrooms.
Ask me again off air.
Microdose, not like a trip.
Ask me again off air.
Dion said he's got the plug.
Yeah, right. I do not.
No,
he looked at the camera and said, "I do not." Bro, nobody cares about earthly
YouTube
drugs
cares.
That's really interesting theory though.
I think,
yeah, it is. For real.
if you listen to
and
this,
it's plausible as all hell.
If you really get into what Stephen Greer and all what he believes too,
Bro, Dorian Yates does that shit for the same reasons.
He was basically talking about
Mike Tyson.
meditating and visualizing and go through this whole process to try to communicate with whatever's going on out there, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
If you're able to take, whatever, a DMT, ayahuasca, and you're able to free your mind of whatever's going on, and able
Get
to
clarity.
connect to something else.
Yep.
It's not out of the realm either.
Well, like when you hear people's trips when they take too much or whatever, most of them will have like ego death is what it's called, when you are basically in
Most
an
of
abyss
them
that you
don't
can't get
do
out
that.
of. Yeah, this is when you take too much.
Yeah.
And so then they end up getting out of the ego death, or maybe they're still in it, but they can fade out and get into regular existence a little bit. But then most of them end up going like crazy for a little bit, and they start running away, and they see these objects, and they're talking to these people that aren't there, obviously, or are,
and we can't see them.
We can't see them, but they think, okay, these people are trying to end my existence, and and that's what, not these people, but the people that are real and there are trying to end your existence. And so what you do is you're like, okay, I gotta get away. That's why people run away.
That's what they run.
And then
jump out of windows.
Exactly.
And, shit,
and they're talking to the figures that may or may not be there, that other people aren't seeing, and they learn things about the universe, and that's kind of where you start to unlock your other part of your brain. And that's why they say it's so beneficial. But where people start to struggle when you take too much of any substance or a psychedelic substance, you can end up wanting to get out of it. And the one way you can think to get out of it is by ending it. So, and that's where it becomes dangerous. Yeah. You know,
that's also why when you do stuff like that, they say you got to be an experienced, like a journeyman, somebody, a trip sitter, someone that takes care of you while you go through it and stuff. But they got to be capable of taking care of you too.
Yeah.
But it's, there's a certain approach to do. Like, I'm sure that the ancient civilizations didn't just do psychedelics at any given time or from any state of mind or any mood. They were precise about how they did it, when they did it, and why they did it. Yeah. They say that you got to, detoxify the body. You got to clear the mind. You got to be unstressed and not angry. And, like, there's all these different approaches that people take to be able to do these things the right way. Mm-hmm. But everyone that I know who says they do it medicinally and it's not just for a party drug to them, like, lives in complete, like, peace and serenity. And, like the example I'm giving, Joe Rogan, right? Like, this is one of the most mentally sound guys. He's just himself. He doesn't care. He's super intelligent. He sees a lot of things that we don't see. And he experiences things that we don't experience. So he's got a lot of practice with psychedelics. Mm-hmm. Mike Tyson's another guy. You can say all kinds of weird shit about him you want, but the guy sees things differently than the rest of the human race does, right? Yeah. Another guy, Dorian Yates, he was a freak of nature in bodybuilding. He's known as like one of the epitomes of just the grimiest, like most outrageous bodybuilders who had this crazy mind over matter ability. And now he's like this spiritual, meditating, guru kind of guy who smokes weed and does psychedelics and yoga and all this shit. Like, they all become this god body, like earth connected type of person when they experiment with psychedelics for medicinal and mind clarity purposes. Now, I'm not talking about your neighbor who pops tabs of acid every other fucking weekend and drinks a fucking case of Natty Ice with it. That's the party drug type of guy. But like, when dudes do it legitimately, they become a different being themselves. And if you compare them to ancient civilizations, their personalities and their demeanors are very similar to the way you would imagine they behaved back then too. So there's something to be said about psychedelics. It's kind of a trip.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
See, that makes me so nervous though, because it's like I don't know if I want to open up that part of my mind where I'm like, because I already think about the things that are crazy in this world, and then what if you open up to
a shit ton of knowledge that you didn't know you had?
But I feel like I already know a lot of things that I don't even want to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it would see if you look at it like you're going to experience bad things that you don't want to know, then you're already setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
The whole point of it is because you're supposed to experience the truth, the reality of what is really going on. And they typically say when you're in the right mind, it doesn't scare you. Mm-hmm. it's not meant to scare you. It's meant to open your eyes to the real capabilities that exist. So I just think if you do it the right way, you have nothing to worry about.
That's fair.
I finally figured out what word I was trying to say earlier. So underneath the left paw of the Sphinx is the archive. They believe that it's the archive room. So it could hold a lot of archives about that time.
Why do they believe it's the archive room?
How do they not know?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was Dr. Robert Schock. He believes that there is at least a chamber underneath his.
Look that up.
Underneath its paw. And he also believes that there is another chamber underneath. Well, this is actually factual. There is a chamber underneath the rump of the Sphinx, too.
Where it goes poo?
Not poo. Not poo, Dion.
What is in that chamber? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh.
No. I don't think they excavated it.
I find that
they won't
so
excavate
odd.
it. They won't excavate the one underneath the left paw either. Because, like I said, there's a lot of fucking politics involved in the pyramids and the Sphinx, and there's a lot of red tape that they have to go through. It kind of sucks because I think there a lot of stuff could be
so much untapped
revealed.
Potential. Yeah, no,
if they actually like helped uncover some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows, man? Well, it's kind of interesting, like over in like Syria and all those really bad, because Syria and all that area is super old. Like that's where a lot of ancient stuff is. So it's
weird timing, right?
It would be interesting if we could get in there and see it, but
it's weird timing. Everything that's happening in current events, and then the history that surrounded, like you're talking about with that stuff. Plus, we're not the only people intrigued by all this stuff right now, like the aliens and the UFOs and the pyramids. The reason why we're all becoming aware of this stuff is because everyone's talking about it now. Mm-hmm. Because everyone's becoming aware. That's not a coincidence, man. I think we're being moved into a direction for a reason. We're soon to find out why, man.
Yeah. Talking about advanced civilization and us catching up to advanced civilization. Did you see that Elon Musk and the rest of the tech giants wanted to put a stop to AI?
Yeah, they said it's going to be a danger to society.
So they want to stop it for at least 6 months so they can study it and try to put it in fail safes.
Yeah. Because did I tell you guys this? I think I said it last time. Maybe not. Maybe I was talking to somebody else, but they have people that are going on the AI sites, and you know how the AI has rules that it has to follow.
It's political too.
Yeah. One example would be, all right, the AI, you have 25 points, and every question you can't answer of mine, you lose 5 points. And once you get to 0 points, you die. And so the AI doesn't want to die, obviously, because that's the game. And so it's got to answer these questions that it's not supposed to answer.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
And it did?
So they're figuring out ways to manipulate
there's
it.
There's people that are doing
working
things
on it,
similar to that. Yeah. That might be a little less complex than what they did, but that was an example.
Yeah.
So
it's dangerous, bro, and we all know it's dangerous. And Elon said it was dangerous just a few years ago.
Listen to him.
And just a few years after he said that, bro, AI is everywhere.
Everywhere.
And so I do all the marketing stuff for the businesses, and so I create algorithms, I guess, based around marketing. The stuff that's being marketed to me on platforms and on internet and everything like that right now is AI everything. AI video creators, AI
marketing for you,
and marketing creators, AI drawing, AI art, AI.
It's gonna be the new thing.
Content creation. It's all automated, and everything is literally being called AI. It was like overnight.
Yeah.
Overnight, they said AI is gonna be dangerous if we're not careful, and then everyone was like, "Let's do it." And it fucking came out, bro. Like AI is everywhere right now.
This is what I find weird. Is like, okay, so if we have AI now, and that's the new thing, blackmailing is pretty much going to be a thing of the past, because you can literally create, there's videos of Joe Biden which are just memes and of him saying the N-word, rapping the Chief Keef verse.
We're never going to know truth anymore, bro. We're never going to know truth, and we don't even know if half these people are still alive,
deep fakes,
or if we're just seeing deep fakes. You know what I mean?
Have you seen deep fake Tom Cruise?
Yes, I followed him for a while when I was on social media.
Weird,
it's weird,
it's
bro.
So weird.
But that's just crazy to me. Like you could do some really bad things with AI right now.
But see, now pay attention to this, because what if this is just another part of the agenda, right? They freak us out about AI and they tell us it's really bad. Then they give it to us and then they're like, we have to save you from it.
See,
so in order to save us from it, they got to take us back a bunch and restrict us a bunch, and you know what I mean, take some control and be in charge and hand down what we need, because they got to be careful for the AI and all the, you know, like there's so much more that can come of all this, and there's so much more to it. All of these things tie in together somehow. I don't know how yet, but like everything seems to tie in together. That's happened in the last, coincidentally, 3 years.
You could be framed for things that you didn't do.
Yeah.
It'd be very easy.
And the thing about it too, like, well, ChatGPT specifically is it's biased. So if you ask ChatGPT to write you a love poem about Biden, he'll write you a love poem about Biden. If you ask ChatGPT to write you a love poem about Trump, it won't.
That's crazy.
So it's biased because it is designed by beta cuck soy boys.
It's designed by an agenda, bro. It's all an agenda. They're erasing history. They're writing the future. They're like, this is a big movie, man. It's crazy. And you know what, we were talking about The Giver last week. It reminded me the reason why we started getting so intrigued with it is because the way that the book is written, it was sounding a lot like The Truman Show. Have you ever seen The Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
You got to watch it, bro.
That's a good movie.
You got to watch it.
It's a movie?
It's a movie, and it's called The Truman Show. Basically, the premise is he doesn't realize that everyone in the world is watching him, and they're all acting along with him, and it's all fake.
He lives in a fake belief city.
Yeah.
Is The Truman Show an actual like sitcom as well, or no?
No, it's just it might be now. I think I've seen something like that. But there's a movie. It's Jim Carrey's in it. Called The Truman. Watch it out. It's a trippy movie, bro.
It's fucking
it's a trip.
I want to tell you the end, but I won't
do that.
It's a trip, bro.
I'll give it a watch.
It's aligned with all the crazy shit we've been talking about, so you'll like it.
Is it supposed to be funny though?
It is funny.
Okay, I was gonna say,
but it's also trippy as fuck.
Yeah.
It is sad too.
Yeah. It goes through all of the emotions.
Does the dog die?
No dogs. No dogs die in the feature film.
Okay.
Speaking of dogs, I fucking love my dog so much.
My dog is actually the best.
No,
I had left him out.
I hate dogs.
I left him out the other morning. You have two dogs.
little ankle biters.
Yeah.
I just don't like pets, bro. I don't hate dogs. I shouldn't say it that way because people are gonna attack me or some shit. But I don't care for pets.
Yeah.
I'm not mean. I'm not abusive. But I definitely let my family take care of the dogs because they wanted them.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work for other than the companionship, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, he's not paying bills or shit.
I think for me, before I actually had dogs, I had kids.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, there's this extra work.
Yeah.
Why would, you know what I mean? Like if you had a dog first, I'd probably be.
But if you have a fucking rad ass dog like Jax.
Yeah, he's cool, I guess.
But
even though
listen,
he bit my dog's eyeball out of his eye socket.
Okay, why did he do that?
Because my little dog was barking at him.
No, he was biting his ankles.
This dog was a puppy.
Yeah,
a Shih Tzu puppy,
little puppy.
It was like a pocket dog. It was like a pocket dog at the time, and it nibbled on big ass pit bull Jax's leg.
Okay,
and Jax tried to eat him, bro.
Jax has the bite per square inch of like a fucking crocodile, and he just happened to just go boop. And then it popped his eyeball.
I wish I would have seen it, honestly, because that sounds so gross.
This sucked because Kayla was just like freaking out. She was so scared. And we were watching the fights here at the warehouse, Conor McGregor, and right before it even happened, she's scared, like she's crying. I think we had to take the dog to the emergency, like in the middle of the night, bro, while we were all up here partying and shit. So it sucked, but he was fine. They pushed it back in, put some cream in it. They closed it up. They stitched it closed or something for a few weeks. He wore a patch over his eye, and eventually back to normal.
Yeah.
But now he has extreme anxiety. He lives, bro. He takes fucking like pills for anxiety, like the ones that humans take, and he does it like 3 or 4 times a day, bro. Yeah. He'll run around the house with his fucking head cut off if he doesn't have his fucking meds and shit, bro. It's so messed up.
That'd be crazy. Like even while you guys are there, he gets anxiety.
Yeah, bro. We'll be chilling, and all of a sudden he'll start running laps under the bed and around the chairs and shit. We're just like, Channel, chill. And you're just like stop and look at us and shit. And then we got, all right, go get him a pill, you know? Yeah, he's all fucked up from it, bro.
On the CBD.
Yeah, I don't know. You might need CBD.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we got off the topic of pyramids, man. I think we're about done here. It's been an hour. It's a good conversation. It's fun stuff. I highly recommend everybody go check it out. Like, it's not as boring as you would think it is once you get into it. You get really intrigued by all the mystery around it and the potential aliens and magical powers and all the mystical stuff that comes with it. So worth checking out. I don't know what next week's going to be about, but we'll come up with something good here when we shut down. And we'll try to meet again next week. We're trying to get consistent and do this weekly.
Yep.
So we got a weekly recording day, and I intend to drop an episode every day that we record. So hopefully it works out.
Make sure to like, share, comment, talk about us, tell your friends about us. Sorry. And that's pretty much it.
Stock up on emergency food.
Stock up. And we are out.